You know the cycle. You wake up Monday morning fully committed. You're hitting the gym, eating clean, and knocking out tasks. But by Wednesday evening, you're buried in the couch, eating chips and watching 3 hours of Netflix. And right on cue, the guilt sets in. You tell yourself you lack discipline. You assume you have a weak character. And if you try a little harder next time, you'll finally stick to the plan. But researchers at Florida State University found clinical evidence that challenges the traditional understanding of self-control. They discovered that discipline functions much differently than we've been told. Willpower is a strictly limited physiological resource, not a personality trait. Think of it like a biological battery inside your head, specifically in the prefrontal cortex. Every time you use it, the charge drops. Your Wednesday night collapse is a predictable biological system overload. Your battery simply ran out. To understand why, we have to look at the prefrontal cortex. This is your brain's CEO. It is the region responsible for overriding your basic impulses and keeping you on track. In 1998, psychologist Roy Baumeister tested how the CEO operates. He brought people into a lab filled with the smell of fresh chocolate chip cookies. Group 1 ate the cookies freely. Group 2 was forced to eat raw radishes while staring at the cookies. When both groups were later asked to solve an impossible puzzle, the radish group gave up 60% faster. This phenomenon is known as ego depletion. It proves that all forms of self-control, whether you are resisting sugar, focusing on a complex spreadsheet, or managing your temper, draw from the exact same biological reservoir. Biting your tongue when your coworker is annoying, forcing yourself to order the salad instead of the fries, or ignoring a text message buzz. Every single one of these actions consumes the same limited pool of energy. By the time you get home at night, trying to rely on willpower to hit the gym is mathematically impossible. The fuel is gone. The sheer volume of mundane choices we make every day actively exhausts the prefrontal cortex. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. Look at this line graph tracking highly trained Israeli judges. It measures the percentage of parole approvals granted over a standard workday. Notice how the approval rate slowly crashed to near zero right before the lunch break. But immediately after the judges eat and rest, approvals spike right back up to 65%. When the brain is depleted, it struggles to compute complex risk. To save energy, it automatically defaults to the safest, lowest effort choice. For a judge, that means denying parole and keeping the prisoner locked up. For you, the lowest effort choice means skipping the workout and sinking into the couch with takeout. Your exhausted brain is doing the exact same energy-saving calculation. The brain you wake up with at 8 in the morning has a biological capacity that your 5 o'clock brain simply lacks. This brings us to the trap of waiting for motivation. We tell ourselves we'll do the hard work once we finally feel ready or inspired. But this flowchart outlines the actual biological order of operations. Dopamine, the reward chemical that drives focus and drive, is released after you begin a task, not before. Using motivation as a prerequisite to start is a broken system design. You are waiting for a chemical signal that hasn't been triggered yet. If willpower runs out and motivation requires action to exist, human feelings are completely unreliable. The only way to consistently succeed is to bypass them entirely. High achievers don't possess magical reserves of discipline. They aggressively hoard their cognitive energy by stripping micro-decisions out of their daily lives. Steve Jobs wore the exact same black turtleneck every single day to eliminate one mundane choice from his morning routine. It was a utilitarian strategy. Mark Zuckerberg utilizes the exact same approach, wearing a standard gray t-shirt to preserve his prefrontal cortex for the choices that actually matter. You can do this using implementation intentions. This is a simple if X, then Y framework. If it is 7 a.m., then I will put on my running shoes. You pre-program the decision, offloading the choice from your brain to your physical environment. And finally, we have to rethink rest. Stepping away from work or getting 8 hours of sleep is not laziness. It is the mandatory biological refueling of the prefrontal cortex. True discipline is about designing an environment that protects your biology, so you don't have to fight it. What is one tiny morning decision that drains your energy? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you want more deep dives into the psychology of how we actually operate, hit subscribe.